got the moon over here. And then we pan around. And it's the sunrise on the beach. And I got perfect signal because I turned off the Wi-Fi.
Maybe that's what messed up with GPS yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got like halfway to the pier and my little voice was like, "You've been running for 10 minutes. Your distance is 0.05 kilometers." I don't think that's correct.
That what incorrect, sir. This is it, everybody. My grand debut. I am now in the house that Amaranth built. My first ever pools, hot tubs, and beaches stream. Another amazing sunrise walk, huh, bro? Yes. Yes, it is. And what a retreat it has been, everybody. What a retreat it has been. If you are expecting me to be gyrating in a blow-up pool in a two-piece bikini, this is not that stream. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Commence snarky comments in 3, 2, 1. Last night was so good for my soul. or as those from Canada like to say, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, riding retreat. Fuck yeah. I now want that as a t-shirt.
I get a little broy when I'm enthusiastic.
Hey, there's always room for a little broism. There's always room for a little broism. Morning, Sam. Morning, Mika. I guarantee to you, if I just went silent, if Claire and I just went silent, and just this was the entire stream, I don't think anybody would mind. But has it been a good retreat so far? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I discovered yesterday there's a lot more to update in Twitch for Dummies than I expected. And I have a deadline next week. Sam must be super early for you because you're out west. It is a crisp 40 degrees here in Ocean Isle, North Carolina. So have you seen the other side, Claire? Have you seen the Pacific?
Yeah,
okay.
A lot, actually. When I did my book tour, I went to Canada. I did all the provincial capitals. Then I went down the coast. I flew to LA and did events there, Seattle and Portland.
Oh, I love Seattle.
Bellingham, Washington.
Okay.
And the whole thing was just amazing, like a bucket list. And I've been to LA a couple of other times for friends and stuff.
See, one of the things that I would say is that there is something different about the Atlantic versus the Pacific.
I find the Atlantic very welcoming a lot of the time. Even though these waves are big, they're inviting.
Yeah.
They're predictable. I mean, that's partly because the weather's just really good here. But you get a lot of days like this here, right, where you want to go into this water. And my experience of the Pacific has never been like that.
No, the Pacific Ocean seems to be, there is a thing where it does look more expansive and it looks a bit more like this. When you look at the Atlantic on a whole, it's daunting. In the Pacific, it's more like you enter in at your own risk.
Yeah.
And hey, yo, Mello, how are you? Good morning. But it's funny, Sam, you should mention Stanton, because yesterday I was during my reading group, I was telling folks about the Blackburn Inn, which if you're in Stanton right now, man, you should poke your head in there, find out more about them, because that was where Phil and I did our our second. Actually, it was our third. It was our third paranormal investigation, and we were there because Blackburn Inn is actually the site of the Western State Asylum, which has now been converted to luxury boutique hotels and apartments. 6 in the morning, and all I hear is mert, 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 then I'm here. Well, this is my first ever, everybody, my first ever pools, hot tubs, and beaches stream, and I feel like I have really reached a new level of excellence here. So I'm waiting for those, 5-6 figure audiences that Amaranth gets. I don't think there's any correlation between that and her gyrating in a pool with a 2-piece bikini. No, I think it's this. I think it's the scenery, everybody. It's the scenery. That's going to get me the hits, right? I introduced Old Spirits Investigation to some of the students at JMU this weekend. Let's go. Thank you, Sam. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it, man. Pair of JMU alumni digging into the paranormal. But yeah, Sam, if you want to see one of the places we went, look up the Blackburn Inn in Stanton, because that's where Phil and I were at in September.
I went to Project TV in Fredericton, St. Atlantic.
Yeah.
Or sorry, St. John. And I highly recommend it. If you're looking for someplace to seriously look for ghosts.
Are they? Now here's the question, because this is what I wound up talking about with Tim. Because it turns out Tim is working on a book involving ghost hunters. And
that's right, yes, there's a lot of paranormal investigation.
And I broke the prime directive. I was saying, okay, Tim, we need to talk about some of the things in the passage you read me. And but one of the things I was talking about was, and this is what I would say about I would ask about your bed and breakfast. Were they leaning into it?
Well, the previous owners hadn't been, and the current owners are friends of mine, and they were about to, because they immediately saw this for the attraction that it would be
Exactly.
to a certain kind of person. And it's a very atmospheric location. Two enormous 19th century homes.
Ooh.
Side by side that were built by Fair Brothers, and then somebody more modern built a hotel sort of connecting the two, and that's where there's like a big breakfast room.
And this is in Toronto?
No, it's in St. John, New Brunswick. So it's a smallish city, very historic, right on the Atlantic.
Right.
And extremely pretty. And this house is visible from almost everywhere in the city. It's perched on this overlook.
Oh wow.
And it's a brilliant yellow.
Oh wow.
So it is extremely noticeable and very beautifully constructed. There's a widow's walk, and any kind of house that has a widow's walk, it's got to be haunted.
Oh yeah.
There aren't very many of those surviving in Canada, and the ones that are, it's like catnip. Where there might be a ghost.
Well, I tell you what. If your friends would want to entertain a pair of new paranormal investigators, we'd be open. I would definitely give that a shot, because
I'll ask them how much clout they need.
yeah, exactly. How much clout do they need? Because we're Ghost Hunter season 1, Well, funnier still, I got an email from a paranormal group based out of Virginia, and I need to have a sit down with Phil and go, Phil, how do we respond to this? Because she said, the question we have is, how busy are you all as a group? And how, basically she wanted to find out more about us. But then she said, what a beautiful sight we are witnessing, T. Yep, Glenn, absolutely. That's why I brought you out here. But she asked if we do commercial or residential. And that's the part that I've always been a little nervous about. Because I said to Phil, I said, I don't know if I'd want to do a residential investigation, because that can get very complicated. We can say, okay, there's something here. Have a nice day.
Right. Even if the person wasn't a believer, you got to think that there'd be some doubts in their mind in the middle of the night when they wake up to a mysterious tapping.
Is everything kosher? And I think the other thing too is that there are some properties that I've heard tell of a friend of mine who was also into paranormal investigating once upon a time. I don't know if she still is now. She told me a real eerie story about she and her group, and it was like 4 women. And that's a funny thing that we have also discovered, Phil and I. Phil and I are in the minority. Most paranormal investigators, women.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that was a gendered occupation.
Because of television. Because the ghost bro culture is real, sadly. But
Bro.
yeah, they're an industry far more toxic than any gamer bro you'll ever meet.
Wow.
And Phil and I refer to them as ghost bros. I mean, someone actually played a clip for me of Zach Baggins, and it was one of the early seasons of Ghost Adventures, and he actually said, I don't want to sound like a vagina, but I got to get out of here. Yeah, I know. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious?
So how has this evolved toward most paranormal investigators being women?
Most of the fans, especially of the shows that feature striking, brave, good-looking men, quote unquote, majority of fans are women.
Oh, I think fans are women. I thought you meant the investigators were.
And some of those women have gotten into investigation.
So it's spawning a change. It's self-evolving.
The only problem is that most of the shows still feature men as the dominant investigators, and that's just not the case. That is just not the case. So anyway, so it's my friend and 3 other women, and they were told, hey, we have a case, we need you to come out here and take a look. Some weird things are going on. They pack up, they start driving, and they said, yeah, the location looks kind of remote, but we should be fine. Get further out, and then they come up to where they need to turn to get to the location, and it's one of those, I guess you would call it non-registered drives or non-registered roads.
Yeah.
It has to be self-maintained.
Unincorporated.
Yeah. They pull on there. Every one of them loses phone signal. Every one of their phones goes dark. I'm like, okay. They follow this road for what feels like half a mile, she said. And then they get to the house. And it is a trailer, a long trailer, and it's held together by hope. That's the only way she could describe it. She said, this thing looked like it was going to fall apart if I kept looking at it. And this old guy comes out and looks at the 4 of us, and I felt like I was being sized up to. And we spent 5 minutes by the car looking at each other, and we said, you know what? And one of our team had the wherewithal to say, you know what? I forgot something back at the hotel where we're staying at. We'll be back. And the guy was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he goes right back into his house. The minute they got off the unregistered road, all their cell phones popped back on. And they were like, yeah, we're going home. Smart move. Yeah, I know, right? So last night, everybody,
We really left out.
you see those 2 specks in the far distance under the pale light of the moon? Yeah, that's my wife and Tim Dodge. Well, I'm glad you're here to enjoy this with us, Glenn. I really am glad you're here to join us here. But this has been where we've been at since Wednesday, and it's just been fantastic. You know, I think the analytics on this is broken. It says it's 4. I'm pretty sure it's 4,000 because I'm on the pools, hot tubs, and beaches, right? It's got nothing to do with anybody wearing 2-piece bikinis, right? This is all about the scenery, about the nature, right? They are very tiny, and yeah, I'm glad too. I saw you were streaming just now, and I was like, wanted to see what pools, hot tubs, and beaches was all about. So yeah, this was something that Twitch apparently did in light of one of the many amaranth incidences, but you know, now I can finally say I've been on this channel, and I can now say, hot damn. Now I just gotta come up with a strategy of how I can get the same amount of hits wearing a 2-piece bikini. And well, that means I gotta hit the gym. Unless I'm looking like Chris Hemsworth, that ain't happening. Yeah, that's true. You lured me in. You lured me in on a topless stream. My apologies if I've misled you all. But come on, can you beat that? Can you beat that view? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. But the thing Phil and I have learned is that if we can get access to a place, like proper access to a place, that's all you really need. Because there's a lot of places that go, oh, you should try this place, and I go, great, what's the access like? So if your friends are game, Phil and I may be game. And if it's a bed and breakfast, we might even convince the wives to come join us.
We had a blast. Now, it's the first vacation of the pandemic, the only vacation until now. It's very picturesque town.
I got the bro Thor thing down. But yes, Claire, there is a ghost bro movement. I don't know how to break it to you, but there is a ghost bro movement.
There's probably an everything bro movement.
That's true.
Oh, I was trying to find some good music the other day to write a dramatic scene to. And I somehow got in this recommendation rabbit hole that was all like kind of Aryan metal.
Wow.
And I did not know that it even really existed.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I read an Elizabeth Hand book where this is a subplot, but I thought she made it up. She didn't make it up.
Nope. No, Aryan metal is a thing. In fact, I want to say they mentioned that in Peacemaker, in the HBO show. Yeah. It is so much better than I was expecting.
Awesome.
I went in thinking, okay, this is going to be just absolutely bonkers, and now it has taken on a life of its own, and I'm like, okay, I'm really digging this. And as far as the heavy breathing, I will own that. Anytime, because I remember 2 years ago, when it was warm enough, we could run on the beach. Although you actually got to run on the beach.
I did yesterday, but it was also really warm yesterday.
Yeah.
Like 60 degrees.
In the group, everyone, in the group, Claire's the other runner. Claire and I bonded the first time we met at SMOKY, finding out that we were both runners.
Kim is actually a runner too. He just registered for a race.
Oh, he did. Oh, that's right. He did. That's right. There's that. But speaking as a runner, this is the runner talk. Whenever you go running on the beach, everyone thinks, oh, it's so picturesque. It's all this. It's so cool. oh yeah, Rocky Balboa did it in Rocky 2. Oh, this is great. Yeah, it's also the hardest workout you're ever going to give your legs.
My calves are sore from it.
Yeah. Because
Sand is soft.
everything is absorbing impact. You get it's not like you can flex a bit and then let the heels take the hit. You're just sinking into the ground.
You have to do a lot of work to stabilize and push back off again. It's like you're digging these little holes for yourself every
Yep.
time.
It's hard because the sand affects your traction. You don't get as far, and if it's water up here. Yeah. And it's worse if you try to run like actually in the water, because then the sand's just given away with you.
Plus, if you don't wear shoes, then you're running barefoot, which is hard.
Which is even harder, yeah.
If you do wear shoes, then they're full of water and they're squishy.
Remember that trend when they were doing the shoes that had the toes and everything, and people were going, "This is better for you than actual running shoes. Running shoes will F you up."
Well,
remember that trend?
There's still actually quite a bit of that trend going on.
Really?
Yeah, our coach is doing his master's degree on it, and he's quite convinced. So my husband actually still wears those funny toe shoes.
Wow.
When we're running, which I think is, he obviously feels better. It's great when you find something that works for you. Definitely stick
I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but
I cannot wear them at all.
No.
It really depends on how much rise you need. I'm going to geek out about running for a second. Everybody has different anatomy, and the reason we have padded running shoes is not really for the cushion, it's for the rise.
Yeah.
For how much difference do you need between where your toes and where your heel is, basically.
We might need to go up because we're getting closer to the shore.
Nothing like an unexpected soaker to derail running. So I have very short, tight calves, so I need a lot of rise in my shoe. Otherwise, my calves just cramp up and I can't keep going. So I can't do barefoot running at all.
Yeah.
But I also don't need much cushion because I've got really firm arches that are very springy and apparently can withstand a beating.
See, I think for me, I'm one of these. We got a visitor. Got a visitor. Oh, and he's taking care of business. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I know. This is why I have problems with the public restroom. That's exactly why. But yeah, I'm one of those runners that need arch support. And if I don't have it, I'm screwed. Like I accidentally picked up my walking shoes, which were my old running shoes, instead of those shoes I'm wearing right now. And I know, right? Puppy! But picked up my old running shoes and I went on a 5K, and it killed me because those shoes have been worn out for almost a year now.
What shoes do you wear?
These are my running shoes. They are, I forgot what these were. Yeah, Brooks.
Nice.
I've been very happy with them. Been very, very happy with them. I don't know if this is a thing in Canada, but I know that in the States there are these running stores where they have you put the shoes on, you test them while you're there,
Yep.
They scan your feet. It's all very high tech.
Yep, they'll analyze your gait on the spot with these little contraptions.
Yep.
I did a virtual running shoe shop during the pandemic, and she had me, filming like
I think we got farther away. But you said you filmed yourself running around.
Yep, and she was like, "Oh, you're a midfoot striker." Yes, I am. And your stride is pretty short, so that gave her what she needed to make some recommendations. And then she shipped all these running shoes to my house, and I got to try them and run around the block. Like she said, don't take it out for a big but like,
right.
Try it.
Give it a test spin.
So that was awesome, and I ended up buying all of them actually.
Back to the future stuff with shoes. Yeah, not that bad. But I mean, I can tell, like, just standing in these shoes, I can feel the arch support, and that's what I need when I run. I feel very lucky. I've worn, since I really got into hardcore running and what I define as hardcore is a half marathon training. I don't have it in me to do a full marathon. I just can't.
Half marathon is where it's at.
Yeah.
You get some bragging rights, but it's really pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, you can take 2.5 hours out of your life to do it and still have something left for yourself after that.
I run like a dwarf, very dangerous over extremely short distances. Point is, though, you're moving. We have someone at the writing retreat who's been, I don't want to say whinging, but they have complained that basically they've got to now start to exercise because the doctor said you need to move.
Yeah.
And that's what I know that for me, that's what I tell people. I just say it doesn't matter what you're running. It doesn't matter even if you're walking, just so long as you're moving. That was I remember in the before times, Pip and I were seeing a trainer, and he says, you got to move. If you don't want to wind up, you know, your joints want movement, and you just...
people are worried about all the injuries they're going to get from running, which is a thing.
Which is a
You
thing.
definitely will,
Which is a
but you'll
thing.
get more injuries from running.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and what happened was, I remember we just started the training sessions, and then we went to a convention, and there were people at the convention that were 10 years younger than us, and they were using walkers and canes. And Pip looked at me and she said, "T, we're going to the gym." And I said, "Don't worry, I've already got the schedule planned out for the week." And I think one of the things I'm working on today is I'm working on the chapter, or at least the section of the chapter, where I talk about streaming in VR. Because Pip and I have been doing Supernatural, as some of you may know. Pip has lost over 30 pounds. She looks stunning. And I didn't even realize, neither one of us realized, we were going back and we were watching a video from the summer when we went to Gettysburg for the first time on a paranormal investigation. And the camera comes around to Pip. And Pip, my mom, and I were watching the video. All three of us went, "Whoa!" And Pip looked at me and said, "Don't ever put that online." And I said, "Don't worry, hon, I'll figure it out. I'll work around it." But she's done great, and I'm so proud of her.
That's amazing.
But the thing that I think some people miss with Supernatural is that they have stretches. They have a whole menu of stretches. And people, I skipped the stretches. I'm like, no.
No, right?
No.
It's actually like weight is just a tiny piece of the overall puzzle. Like,
Yeah.
A lot of people lose any weight when they work out, but they gain mobility, they gain strength, they gain stability, they become more injury-free. To me, that's the holy grail.
A sedentary lifestyle will negatively affect your joints, right? Yes. Yes. And in other news, water is wet. Yeah, I mean, I know. Don't trust me. I know that I'm spouting common sense here, but as we've discovered during the pandemic, common sense can sometimes go out the window. So it's nice to just kind of repeat it now and then, just a reminder.
Well, even though it's stuff that we all know, I don't know, to me, even really committed athletes need a reminder sometimes of why you do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really about getting a medal or like beating your record. It's about living a really long life.
Yeah.
Having energy to enjoy it.
Well, and that's the thing. Pip has done stuff, like we went on a investigation with the Rossies out to a ghost town in Daniels, Maryland. And I couldn't stream it, chat, because it was a full-on hike. I mean, there was zero signal out there. The thing is, the way we were walking and the terrain we were tackling, I said to Pip, you wouldn't have done this last year. She said, I couldn't. She said, it's not I wouldn't, I couldn't. I could not do this last year. And she attacked that hill, Maureen. She was amazing. But I am. The thing that I'm doing now with Supernatural, though, is right before my runs, I go downstairs and I do a quick stretch session, and then I do one quick low flow. And that's when people say, "Oh, so Supernatural is like Beat Saber." I'm like, no, it's Beat Saber, but You're scored based on 1, your accuracy, 2, your speed, 3, your power, and 4, your squats. Because you're doing squats in the middle of this.
That's the best.
And my buns feel fantastic, but let me tell you something. That first routine I did, my running partner calls me up and says, "Hey T, ready for a run?" I'm like, "Nope." That's a big fat nope right there. I lost about 60 pounds pre-pandemic. I found about 20 during the pandemic. I have about 50 pounds to go. Well, here's the thing too. When you get into weight loss, we hit the 30 minute mark. You want to turn around? Yeah. We'll catch up with them. Here's the thing though about weight loss. It really needs to be slow and steady. And I'm speaking from experience because I remember losing 30 pounds in like a 2-month period. And that was when Pip saw me at Dragon Con, and she was like, "T, you look too skinny." she I think in her own words, she was like, "Your wrists are weak." But if you do it slowly, it's easier. It's easier to keep off.
Well, it takes time to build muscle too.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's not just weight; it's also body composition.
And when you gain muscle, that sends your weight up, and you're just like, "Oh crap!" But that's like, no, you're gaining muscle now.
Right? I realized that I'm actually happiest at my highest weight in terms of that's when I can lift the most, that's when I can run the farthest. It's not when I can run the fastest. I run a little faster than later. But I'm also more injury prone because I'm not doing enough lifting to keep my joints really stable.
Is it tough to keep your appetite down? Well, it depends on if you like food like I do.
I mean, there's no reason to keep your appetite down.
Because you're burning it.
Right?
If you're active.
Functioning, if your whole body is functioning, you literally can eat whatever you want.
I mean, to be fair,
as long as what you want is vegetables.
Yeah.
Proteins.
And proteins.
And avocados.
And the other thing too is that it's not so much eating. If you are doing the cooking, Glenn, if you're doing the cooking, you have full control over what you're eating. Behind you.
I found a whole seashell.
And there's the beautiful woman I was talking about.
My walking buddy here. Found the seashell. Thank you. I'm gonna take it home and put it in my jar.
I've come in handy this week. I've helped Adrian find 2 things she lost.
There you go.
Way to go.
Good luck charm.
But I would also say that the part of the thing about keeping the weight down and keeping the weight off and then of course building muscle is that if it's a gradual thing and you're not necessarily tracking everything you're eating. Yes, the easy for you the type. But if so long as you're active, and do even something as simple as walking can do a lot for you too. And so here was I was going to ask you, geek runner question. What do you prefer, distance or speed?
Distance, because
Yep.
one of the things I love about running
That's me.
is exploring.
Yep.
And when you can run longer distances, you can explore more. You can find your way to places that you didn't know existed. And I find that so fun when I'm in the middle of a long run and I see a trail that I want to explore and it takes me to a part of my city that I've never seen.
Glenn in chat also voted distance as well.
Nice.
I'm all about distance.
And you need a lot of calories to do distance.
Yeah. I think distance is, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I admire the hell out of sprinters. I think sprinters are all that. But for me, it's all about distance. When I did track the 1 year, that was my thing, was distance. I was the 400 meter and up. I was not the 100-yard dash. I was not that guy.
I was very slow in high school. I was tiny, I had no muscle, and I never really worked out before. So, when I graduated high school, so I joined the track team, which they let anybody in.
Right, exactly.
And I was supposed to, do some runs and see how far I could go. So I ran around the block, and country block from my parents' house.
Yeah.
Just 2 miles.
Right.
It was so far, it was so exhausting. It probably took me like 45 minutes. you on the
Whoop!
track.
Oh no! Oh hey, you're fine. But I admire that. The
That's
fact that
chilly.
you're wearing flip flops. Good gravy.
It's the only part of me that's cold.
And now it's a little colder.
Yeah.
But I was. The funny thing was that I was not the sports guy. I was the forensics nerd and the band nerd in high school. I didn't really become active until my 20s and 30s.
It's never too late, right?
No. And
I was 18 when I joined the army. Boot camp was so hard, but I came
You were
out
in the
other
army?
side. Yeah,
oh my God.
in the Canadian Army Reserve.
Hell,
mind you,
hell
so,
yes.
You know, we didn't actually like see action or anything.
I was gonna say, you're Green
Beret.
Beret, aren't you? You've done like dark ops missions, which all involve maple syrup and unclassified locations. I understand.
Mostly involved Remembrance Day events where you had to just stand around looking solemn.
Right. It was in my 20s. I think it was in my late 20s, maybe early 30s. I discovered kickboxing, and I started doing kickboxing, and then I did martial arts. And then I got back into swimming. And if you were to ask me what's the thing I miss the most about a gym, is being able to go swim. And I remember one of our cabins for the SMOKY Riders retreat I became active when I was told, get a job by my parents. But I was getting back into a swimming routine, and there was a SMOKY one year that actually had one of those not infinity pools, but one of those like, it's a pseudo hot tub, but it's also you can get the laps in.
Wow.
Supposedly.
That was not that
I was like, how does this? It did not work for me. It did not work for me at all. But I miss what I do when I go swimming. Good morning. One of the things that I do when I go swimming is I plug in. I have a underwater kit from my old iPod, and I have music when I swim.
Oh, nice.
And it was kind of a pseudo hot tub, but it was not really a hot tub, because what happens is that when you go into pool mode or lap mode, as they were calling it, it shoots a jet of water at you, and the theory is that you basically float on top and you go against the current.
Oh, so it's like a treadmill.
Yeah, it's a swimming treadmill. That's the best way to describe it. The only problem is, very much like a treadmill, if you pause at any moment, you get kicked to the back of this little thing. And it was not pleasant. And they have a bar for you to hold on to. And I'm sitting there going, I feel like I'm body surfing behind a cruise liner. This is ridiculous. So yeah, it was not for me, Chad. It was not for me. But at one point I was swimming 1,500 meters, I think. 1,500 meters every swim. I'm right before the pandemic. I was getting back into it, and I think I got up to 500 meters, I think. But I love swimming. I love swimming. Now that is not without breaks in between. I should preface that. I'll go like, I think the longest I can go without a break is 5 laps, and then I'm like, okay, hang on. And even I remember when I first got back into swimming, and I was like, yeah, I'll hop in the pool. I'll do 500. No biggie. That's 5 laps. I can do that. 1 lap in, and I'm hanging on the side, going, to hell.
Oh, it's so alarming how quickly some of these things go away when you stop doing them, right? Like, I've just been doing cardio the last 2 years, and so, my heart and legs are in good shape. But I show back up to the gym as it reopens, and our coach is like, take it
Yeah.
It's not the same. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's do a deadlift.
Oh my God, Claire.
I used to deadlift 185 pounds.
Of course you did.
I can now deadlift about 115 comfortably.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
The thing about swimming, I find, is you get in and you go, oh, this is a piece of cake, you know? And even if you're swimming slowly, that sneaks up on you. And the next day you wake up and you're like, where did those muscles come from and why do they hurt so bad?
Well, I think it's partly like you don't get the sweat and heat signal from your body the same way. And so it feels kind of relaxing because you know how.
But you know, it's funny about this retreat. So, Chad, just to give you a little bit of background, the retreat that Claire and myself and Tim and Pip are all on, it started in the Smoky Mountains. And you did come out to a couple of the Smoky Mountains, right?
I did,
Yeah. And there was a part of me that was going, yeah, I kind of miss being in the Smoky Mountains. But in this moment right here, I don't think I miss it as much. I think in the grand debate, look at this, we got ahead of them again. This is how you know we're runners.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, I think I'm a beach person through and through. And for a lot of us, for Claire, for me and Pip, this is the first social trip we've taken since last year. Because this time last year,
2 years ago.
2 years. Sorry, doing that all weekend. 2 years ago.
It feels compressed.
Yeah. Yes, Glenn, I would say I'm a son of a beach. I would say that. I would say I'm a raging son of a beach. I'm a classic son of a beach. Level up, beaches. Can't beat that view, though. Cannot beat that view. What is tougher? Oh, that's an easy question. What is tougher, swimming in the pool or swimming in the ocean? Well, for one thing you don't have to worry about in a pool. You don't have to worry about jellyfish.
Or seals.
Or seals. Or sharks. Not that I worry about it. To me, it's the jellyfish that freak me out the most. I've never been stung by a jellyfish, and I would like to keep it that way. But I think the other thing too, you don't realize until you start swimming in the ocean, and it's been a while since I've done it, and part of the reason why I don't do it is because the currents.
Yeah.
The currents are vicious.
Yeah, the waves look kind of calm, as they're just rolling up this fairly flat beach, but they are a lot more powerful than the lake waves.
And I mean, I'll wade in the ocean just to say, okay, I've made it to the ocean and stuff like that. I'll do that, but swimming. Now, I will say something I've always wanted to do. It's on the bucket list. Is to do one of those Ironman things where you do the running, the biking, and then you do a quick thing out into the ocean.
One of my best friends does that. She actually does ultra Ironmans, and it's ridiculous. These events take like all day. It takes her months to train up for them. But it's the kind of thing where to do, an organized event, they do them in all kinds of great places. And it's like an excuse to take a trip to someplace amazing. And then experience it in this really tough but amazing way.
Right.
So I see why she does it. She keeps kind of getting at me to come with her because we run together.
I could see you doing it, but I could also see that would be like a massive undertaking.
Yeah, that's actually what makes it sausage. That and I don't know. Like I'd rather do a duathlon than just skip a swim.
Really? I would have pictured you being like me, being one of those runners that likes to swim.
I mean, I love being a runner, but I don't like actually, swimming laps or anything. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But the training is really an obstacle. Even doing half marathons.
It's a challenge.
I'm in running 5 days a week, and both weekend days have to run enough. That gets in the way of a lot of the rest of the stuff I'd be doing at that time. And it's really great if I'm doing a 12-week program and I train up and then I do the event. But I can't do
No, it's
Not that
hard.
hard.
It's hard. I mean, the training program that my partner and I do is we do a 12-week program, and it's 4 days out of the week. And you think, oh, it's not so bad. Well, for some reason, and I don't know if you have this, Claire, but I have this mental block when it comes to miles 6 through 9.
For me, it's about that same place where it starts to feel quite hard. And then
Yeah.
after that, it's
And then you
easy for a
hit
long
10,
time.
you're like, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
I really think it, and I know it is just a mental block. I know that it's just we've hit the double digits. We're good. We're good. I keep forgetting. I have to tell Tim. I have to tell Tim I had a dream about his work in progress. I had this dream where I woke up and people were like, T, we need you to tell us if this is an EVP or not. And I was half asleep and I fell asleep, but I heard it. So I'm like, okay, I have to go into a deep trance. And they're like, you were asleep. I'm like, yeah, it's a deep trance. No, it was a nap. And I'm like, well. I cannot believe a woman was wearing flip-flops.
I left my sandals today.
Can you arrest, good morning, can you arrest you for not doing ASMR in the hot tub category? Not my jam, baby, not my jam.
Can't you hear those waves? Isn't that ASMR?
This is ASMR. What are you talking about, Mika? This is ASMR. Problem is I'm talking over the ASMR. When I get home, season 2 of Space Force is available. Hot damn. Let's go. I enjoyed the hell out of Space Force. Good morning. There's so much to see when we get home. There's the final episode of Peacemaker, Space Force. There's something else too. Oh,
We're still watching Foundation and sorry that.
Pip watched Foundation. She enjoyed it.
I did too.
She said, "Oh, it's gorgeous. You could not have shot that 10 years ago.
Right?
You couldn't."
I know some of it can't be real, but it looks real.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. I love my science fiction.
Yep. And Pip was like, "Yeah, it's pretty much Game of Thrones in outer space, but we don't want to say that because of what happened with Game of Thrones." This isn't a crime, but you can take it to civil court. There you go. There you go. Fair enough. Oh, hey, noob. Hey, noob. So much wind. So yeah, you know, today I've actually. It's funny you should mention the cross breeze. Today I've given myself a goal. If I can hit my word count for both my nonfiction and my fiction today, I'll head out with the drone, and I'm going to do a little drone testing. Because at the last visit to the Jenny Wade house, the drone was acting kind of squirrely. So I want to figure out why it's doing the way it's doing. Because I don't want to lose. I like being able to go to some of these locations and getting drone shots. It's not a pro quality drone, but I've seen those pro quality drones up close. Those things are monsters. And I think you do have to be a licensed pilot to operate them.
I had one of those moments early in I guess no, it was the first winter of the pandemic. So it's been going on for a year. And the city of Toronto had an outdoor art exhibit for people to be able to look at some art and socially distance.
Right.
It was on a big beach, much smaller beach than this, but still pretty expansive. And it was super cold, like minus 20 degrees. And we're the only people on this beach, so we're enjoying the art, but freezing our butts off. And I mean, I don't always wear a mask outside by myself.
Right.
It was that day because it was so cold.
Right.
So we're like masked up, just our eyes showing, and a drone comes and hovers over us, and looks at us, checks us out, and then flies away. And I'm like, here we are in a pandemic, being observed by a drone on the beach in our city. Like all of a sudden, the future is really with us.
Yeah. So suddenly we are all part of the prisoner, and that's a hell of a reach. I know that's a pop culture reach right there. If you know what I mean by the prisoner, then yes, you are officially old. But got a neat question from Glenn in chat, and this is for everybody. Does being at the beach on a writing retreat inspire you to write?
Yes, absolutely. Looking at views I don't always see inspires me to write. Being in fresh air inspires me to write. You know, your body does part of the writing as well as your mind, and being in a relaxing, beautiful setting that makes your body feel alive in itself makes the space for your creativity to kind of surface in your mind.
Well, it goes to this theory, and I've heard the theory before, and there is some validity to it. The reason I don't quote it often is because I worked for a guy who he always went to it. It was like the button that he would always push, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but learn to phrase it a little better. But he always said that you get your best ideas when you're in a shower, because you're relaxed. You're basically your brain cuts off, and you just, or not necessarily your brain cuts off, but the stress part of your brain kind of powers down. You're in the shower, and you get all these fantastic ideas, and then the minute you get out of the shower, you start thinking about the day ahead, and you completely forget about all these ideas.
It's not just ideas either, it's also emotions. And when you're writing fiction, you need to be able to write fiction that evokes an emotional response, and
right.
Also you need to be able to write about the emotions of the characters. And if you're tangled up in an emotion that you're really stuck on, it's hard to do that effectively.
Well, whereas
if you're relaxed,
it also applies to nonfiction, because I mean, I know that with nonfiction, when I'm writing the new edition of Twitch, I was like, oh yeah, this, I gotta remember this, I wanna remember that, and I'm going through all the steps in my head, and it's like, it just, the words were just literally flowing yesterday, and that's when I looked back, saw a lot of red ink, and I'm like, wow, Twitch has really changed, and then I went, I just did all that, and
it's almost like being in a trance, right? When
yeah.
It's really working, you get in a flow state, and I think that the flow state is a physiological state that can be measured. You know, it's not just about feeling like, oh, I'm really on today, or my brain's really working. It's your whole system working.
Yeah, and you know, like for me, at a place like this, my favorite thing to do is sit out on the veranda, so I could actually watch. You know, so like if I get stuck, I just watch the waves for a bit. I look back down at my words. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I need to do, and I can just hammer out the concepts, hammer out the words.
And I gotta say, it works for me in the mountains too. Like any place where you have views, you have nature, and you're away from the familiar.
Now, I would say the biggest difference between the mountains versus this is with the mountains, there's the silence.
Yeah.
And the silence.
The occasional bald eagle floating by.
Yeah. But here, you had that constant sound, and maybe I just need that white noise. But if I'm going to have a white noise, this is the best freaking white noise you can ask for. And
I'm not a silence person. That's why I live in a big city, and I listen to music a lot when I write too. But I haven't needed to listen to music nonstop here because the waves are also really wonderful here.
yeah. So I do think that getting away, being able to come to either the mountains or the beach, just to write. Actually, now that I think about it, I actually did that with my first book. When I was in rewrites from Moravia, I came off season to the Outer Banks, and we just wrote. I just wrote solid for a week. Look at this doggo.
What a beauty.
Big doggo. Oh, beautiful dog.
Love your dog.
Good morning. And what I do when it was we were rewriting, I was rewriting Moravia, you know, final edits and all that. And I remember opening the windows and just listening to this. Just listening to this. 'Cause Okay, everybody, there's your loop. There's your ASMR there, Mika. There's your freaking ASMR. You don't need anybody rubbing bread up a cheek or stuff like that. It's a shame, too, because I was hearing some people in the ASMR community talk about it, and they're just like, yeah, unfortunately, the ASMR movement, if you will, has been upended by people who do ridiculous things on it, and that's what people know it for. And I do follow an ASMR streamer, and she does it in I guess you would call the traditional way. And she's not doing it for shock value. She's doing it to actually, chill people out. And I remember having a very stressful day at work, and I happened to be watching her stream, and she went into ASMR mode, and I'm like, oh my God, this actually works. Of course, there's a part of me that now thinks that on the last day at the beach, I should just do a silent stream, and just have this and put it under ASMR and go, here you go, Mazel tov. Mika's so this guy in my stream, Mika, he's doing a Shadowrun. He's doing a Shadowrun RPG, and he's designing the storyline for it. I think Pip played Shadowrun. She loved it. She absolutely loved it.
Next weekend, I'm actually hosting a gaming weekend.
Oh, nice.
Friends.
Is it
A couple years
RPG?
ago they did it. It's
Oh.
I don't even know what it counts for because I don't play anything. I think they play Left 4 Dead.
Oh,
Which I
okay.
think is a first-person shooter game.
Yep.
And
20
they
months,
play
Jason. Thank you.
a lot of other games that they play. They're bringing in some tables. They're going to be set up in my basement for a game weekend. And apparently it'll be my job to sort out the food for them.
So, Jason, remember that block we were talking about? Gone. I guess I just needed I needed to come down here and recharge the creative batteries. So that story you commissioned from me almost 2 years ago, I'm going to get to it. It's on the to-do list, but just to give you a heads up, I have a deadline for Dummies next week. But yeah, it feels good to be writing fiction again. It feels real good. I'm still writing nonfiction, but it felt good to write fiction again. Oh, thank you, Jason. And again, thank you for the 20 months. And welcome to the beach, by the way, Jason. Welcome to Ocean Isle. If you're curious as to where Pip is, she's all the way back there. Yeah, we got our feet wet yesterday, Jason. We got our feet wet yesterday.
Oh, I took a break midday.
Yeah?
Just waited out, and it was the
Oh,
tide was just starting to come in, so the beach was so huge and flat and misty. Beautiful.
yeah. We didn't do the morning walk yesterday, chat, mainly because it was pouring rain. But it's.
I did my run, but there's no way anyone wanted to stream that. High wind right in my face. I'm like pounding along, working so hard, probably going like 8 minutes a kilometer.
The Atlantic is so much warmer even this time of the year than the Pacific. Yeah, I remember the first time I put my feet in the Pacific, and I can now say I put my feet in the Pacific Ocean. Oh my God, it's freezing! So lessons learned there. And I think that the pandemic has really been wearing on Pip. She needs to get home. She's feeling a little homesick. She wants to get home. But what's exciting, Chad, is the next trip we take to New Zealand. We're taking not only Sunny with us as well, but we're taking my mom, and she has never been out of the country.
Wow.
And she's getting on a plane for 14 hours. Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Ooh. I think Pip will like this one. I think Pip will love that one, as a matter of fact. Who looks after GamerCat? Good question. So GamerCat is in good hands. Sunny is looking after GamerCat right now. Sunny is at home with my mom. See, now Pip's got me looking for shells for her. My Twitch grandma is at my house right now with Sunny, with Twitch daughter, and they're watching out for GamerCat. It's mainly Twitch daughter. And in fact, she sent me a 30-second clip yesterday of Benedict purring up a storm. He was just in purr mode, and it was kind of a nice little zen moment that I needed. Yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice. It's funny, even Sunny has talked about coming to this. She's been talking about coming to SMOKY, to the writers retreat, and I said to her, let's see how you are after college. Let's see how you are after college. But I think she's serious about being a writer, and I think what would help her, because last night was what I call it at SMOKY the I love you man moment, because everybody was kind of bearing their souls on the porch, which is what you do when you smoke really nice cigars, and whoa, and I realize now, yeah, I think my therapist would be really proud of some of the little moments I've had here. But she'd probably get a kick out of some of the stuff that I was saying last night. I basically was saying, yeah, this is more about, this writing retreat really isn't, it has very little to do about the work you accomplish. It's more about just being here and being part of this community, truly being part of this community. And I think one of the things that Alex White, one of the founders of this event, wanted is they wanted this event to be able to continue on even if they couldn't do it. And we kind of proved it that we could. There's Hugh O'Donnell. So, real quick chat, Hugh O'Donnell coming down the steps right now. He discovered, talk about a little accomplishment at a writer's retreat. He discovered that he got a shout out in this month's Locus magazine. And Locus magazine, if you don't know, is the trade magazine for science fiction writers. And he discovered that this weekend. So he's got a souvenir to take home with him. All right, So everybody, I think what I'm gonna do now, apart from daring the surf so I can wash this out for my wife. Nope. I don't want to get too close, because then it's gonna be how close do I dare? How close do I dare? There we go. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one, chat. Oh crap. Whoa! What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this stream end with just this. It's a nice picturesque. So here's your ASMR, everybody. Thanks for coming on a walk with me into this. It means a lot.